So I just finished catching up on the Sun and Moon anime. I was actually a few episodes behind, pretty far behind. I hadn't even watched episode 48, and I think there's up to 52 now. 53 is coming out later this week. Actually tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. I'd definitely be doing like a podcast style review of that on the other channel, of the whole arc, of the whole Sol Galio stuff arc, that whole thing, because hopefully, I think the whole conclusion to that arc is coming in the next episode tomorrow. Yeah, it's great though. It is great because something you rarely see in the Pokemon anime, because it's one of those arcs where Ash actually takes a back seat to one of the other main characters. And I love Ash, don't get me wrong. Ash is one of probably my favorite main characters to ever appear in anything ever. Like, I love just everything that he stands for, everything that he, like, you know, all his memes, everything about Ash, I love him. But you stick with the guy for 20 years, you know, he doesn't get older by a day in his life, you start to get a little bit sick of him taking the front seat every time. And it's really the only thing that keeps that alive in the first place is that every experience is different, right? Because all the experiences are with different Pokemon, with different side main characters, and all that stuff. So you have kind of saving graces that allow that to keep happening. But with this arc, Ash takes a back seat to Lillie's whole family, which is just a great thing, because not because Ash is bad, but because the whole development going on between Gladion and Lillie, and even Lucamine, and the development of having Zalbo, or what's his face? His Zalbo in Japanese. I don't remember whatever his face is in English. I forgot his name in English. Just literally like that, him becoming like the main antagonist. Dealing with all of the Nebby situation. It is just lovely. It is really lovely, because you go through this whole development. Lillie can't touch Pokemon for a while. You get to see her past. You kind of get to learn about her past and what made her scared to touch Pokemon in the first place, and then you realize that her perception of that memory is inherently flawed, which is just brilliant, because it's actually pretty accurate to how, like, you know, someone that young would actually perceive that incident. And it's just like, it's brilliant. Like, I think it's really well done, in my opinion, and it's just awesome. And so it's great. It was great to see Lillie go. It was even though it was short, and her not being able to touch Pokemon and that whole development, it just makes her feel like a much bigger deal. It just makes you want to connect. It makes you connect more with the character, which is what she really needed, because she's a huge part of the story, especially in the anime. The games, like, it was kind of like because Lillie was just kind of hanging around. Honestly, I think in the games they need more of, like, kind of consistent companionship. Kind of like how in Diamond and Pearl or Platinum or whatever, you could kind of bring a few, like, temporary partners along with you, and they would just always have your back. Like, I'm not saying you need Lillie to heal you on a constant basis, but I want, like, more Lillie. I want you to just be able to turn around just at any point in the game and Lillie just be standing there to give you, like, a word of encouragement or anything. Just because I feel like the games are kind of lacking that. Like, if you want, because Lillie in the games was supposed to be, like, kind of like a person that was, like, kind of helping you out, kind of like, you know, part of your journey. But she was just disappearing and then reappearing at random times, and it just didn't feel like she was actually there, because that whole thing just kind of makes it seem like she just didn't really care about you. Like, you were just kind of there because you could battle really well. And in the show, it feels so much more like the other characters matter. And, you know, what is his name? I've already forgotten his name in English. Kiawe is his name. Lana. Malo, my waifu always. Sophocles. You know, they probably won't do anything, but, like, it just, like, the idea of, like, oh, they had all these good times with Nebby, and then when he transformed to Sol Galio, he was all happy with them. It makes them feel like a bigger deal when they're, you know, really just brought into the story as, like, people who, like, if the characters like Lillie, who've been built up to make sure you know they matter, they consider the other characters matter, they think the other characters matter, then you think they matter. So even if they don't do jack shit, you think they matter because that's what you've been told to believe by the character that you know matters. So it's really just a perception of psychology, really. It's really just like an exercise in psychology. It's all about who you perceive as important and why you perceive them as important. And the show, compared to the games, is a really good job in like making sure you know that, oh, hey, all these characters have a role to play. All these characters mean something. You know, it's really just well done. Like, the games just can't replicate that kind of feel. And, you know, people go on and criticize the anime for whatever, it's not mature enough, blah, blah, blah. This arc shows to me that the characters are just, like, the arc shows to me that it has, and if this hasn't already been proven to you through, I don't know, X, Y, and Z, the whole Team Rocket shenanigans and Black and White, Team Galactic, literally pretty much Team Galactic onward and like the evil team scenarios. If this doesn't prove to you that it has the capability to be mature, there's a Krogunk I'm looking in a mirror right now, by the way. If this doesn't prove to you that Pokemon has the full potential to be mature and executed brilliantly, I don't know what will, because it is brilliant. Like, it is absolutely wonderful, and just, it's all so well done. It makes you like emotionally invested, because like because you go and you delve in. Like, I even commented once saying, at the beginning of each episode, earlier in the Nebby arc, you got just the little scene with Lillie writing in her diary about how she feels. Just that little bit makes you more emotionally attached to Lillie, and just by doing that, like, you become more invested in her. So when she goes through emotional trauma, you sympathize with her. Really, you empathize with her. So it's just really well done. So it's when it started shifting its focus to make the viewer emotionally invested in Lillie, it was from there out, it was just really well done. And the whole Solgaleo and all the deities entrusting Ash with Nebby, it just makes Ash feel important, on top of making Lillie feel important and making you emotionally invested in Lillie more than anyone, because she's the one going through an emotional roller coaster, as opposed to Ash, who barely feels emotions. He's just like, oh no, this is happening and bad things. So in the end, it's just a great show showing why it's great. And yeah, so that's obviously not where I stop, because I have a long road ahead of me to get to Nimbasa City, but yeah, I'm gonna continue to talk about this. So really, I guess I genuinely do not have a complaint about this whole arc as a whole, because, like, even the parts where just Nebby was being mischievous and it just seemed like it was filler, it contributes to the amount of, like, it just contributes to, like, at the very end when he transforms into Solgaleo, you see this scene where Ash feeds it the sugar cubes, or the sugar stars, and he still eats them, even though he's a legendary Pokemon. And it's just like, oh, it's the same Nebby that's been causing mischief for the past, like, I don't know, few weeks or so. So it's like, when you go through all that stuff with Nebby, it makes, like, it gives you the sense of who Nebby is as a character, even though it's a Pokemon. Like, you know its personality. So it seems like filler, but really you're just learning more about Nebby's personality. And it's just all really well done, and I love it so much. It's really good. It's just really good. So regardless, just like it's because it's a really quick emotional roller coaster too, because you learn about, you know, Lillie's past, but by the end of that episode, by the end of one episode, she's like, oh god, what happened? Like, by the end of that next episode, she's able to touch Pokemon again, and she's so happy about it. And it's just a really touching scene to see her reuniting with Snowball and Pikachu and Nebby, so it's just all just a really, really nice feeling. And just the idea that Nebby can sense your emotions and teleport you to, and make you, like, do that, or, like, can sense, like, what you want to do and can, like, let you do that, it's just really cool. And it's just all really nice, because, like, you don't get attached to Nebby as a character. You get attached to Nebby as, like, you know, one of the pets, like one of the Pokemon. Like, you don't get attached to Pikachu because of its character. You get attached more like its personality. Like, Pikachu is just a lovable dude, right? And that's the same reason you get attached to Nebby. And when he becomes a Solgaleo and you're like, oh, Jesus, that's not how I remember Nebby. It's just like, oh, wow, it's the same Pokemon. Like, I still remember it has the same personality, even though it's a lot bigger and it looks like a big old lion trying to eat me now. So, in the end, it's just really, 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 really well done. So it's just really touching to see all these things like, oh, Lillie can touch Pokemon. It's just because she's so happy about it. And she just want to be happy. Like, just all the emotion and the voice acting and everything about it is just so well done to allow you to feel those emotions as the viewer who is emotionally attached and invested in a character. And need I remind you that this is a show full of characters who are 11 years old? Maybe 10? Like, this is all just really, really good stuff. And, like, I wish I could go more in depth. Like, I can't think right now because I'm multitasking. I just got caught up on that, and it was just really fun to watch, because now I did say it was really quick. Like, all the stuff with, like, Lillie going through her emotional trauma and learning about her past and these memories that she'd forgotten, opening the Ultra Wormhole, Lusamine getting kidnapped, just all their motives and stuff are just really, really good. And, you know, you just want to, and you empathize with and sympathize with the characters just really well. Like, even Gladion feels like so much of a, like, bigger deal now. Like, it just feels like he's, like, he actually has motives. Like, you learn, like, because he was a mysterious character, right? And you always want to learn about mysterious characters earlier on. But now that his motives are clear, and you know how he feels about all these different situations, and it's just seeing him get pissed off at his mom for not being a good mom to Lillie, like, you start to understand more and more about him, and it's just really nice to be able to, like, understand where his, like, emotional apathy just comes from. And I don't know, it's just a nice feeling to know that Gladion, that they care, right, about Gladion. That it's just nice. So really, they took their time, and that's what they had to do. Because if they hadn't and they rushed it, it definitely would not have been as effective. And it's such a dramatic, like, few episodes. It's been such a dramatic few episodes. And even now, they're taking it pretty slow, because all of episode 52 was basically just them waiting for the Guardians to do their thing to open up the wormhole and for Nebby to transform back into Solgaleo. So really, that was the entire episode. You learned about how Nebby was created and how all that stuff. So even now, they're taking their time, which is what they have to do. So the only thing I have to complain about right now, this thing has Ice Punch. I mean, I said earlier I don't have any complaints. It's not really a complaint as much as it is, like, a personal pet peeve. Like, in the games, Lillie's transform and design was made to be a pretty big deal, but in the show, it just kind of happened. And I wish she had a better motive for it, as opposed to just like, oh, I'm going out to open up an ultra wormhole to find my mom. And, like, I wish she just had, like, a better reasoning for doing it, because I love her design change, but just, like, I wish her motive for doing it was a little bit more clear, like, for actively just changing her design, because that doesn't happen that often. Serena's design change, her motives were clear. She was transforming herself from, when she failed the performance, but like, she was wanted to become a new person, whatever. Like, that was very clear. But this would just kind of happen, and she just, like, did her hair differently, and it's just like, I don't know, it just kind of happened. So I just wish that it was a little bit more clear in that regard, But other than that, I don't really have any complaints with the whole arc in general. It's just all really, really well done. And, like, I don't know what else to say but that. It's just, like, what do I say that hasn't already been said? Like, it's an emotional roller coaster that really shouldn't be in Pokemon. Like, its caliber is way beyond, like, anything. Like, if you've watched the whole show up until this point, right, its caliber is, like, way beyond anything, like, sane or something like that. Like, it's just great. Just take my word for it. It's just great. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Start from the beginning of the Nebby arc. Even if you haven't seen any of the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime, you'll get it pretty fast. Just start, I don't know what episode it is, maybe like 40, somewhere around there. Just start from there. It's amazing. It's really, really good. Anyway, I was talking about Pokemon anime. I still have a while to get to Nimbasa City. Actually, I'm pretty close. But, I personally get a kick out of, whenever, you know, I see one of those really, really cute scenes between, like, Lillie and all those, her, like, having really cute moments like Pikachu or stuff like that. Like, I just get a kick out of those because I think they're adorable, and I love Lillie just because, and it's how I mentioned before, right? It's all about the emotional investment and how the writers actually build up your emotional investment in a character. And because they've done so well with that with Lillie, I feel like whenever I see her just do something cute with one of the Pokemon, it's just like really, it's just nice. You know what I'm saying? It's just a nice thing. I'm witnessing something of heavenly descent. I guess I need to go into a little bit more detail about why I like this so much. Because if I can, I'm probably going to use this as my discussion to upload shortly. Maybe I'll try to upload it shortly. But, like, you know, honestly, I wish I could explain it more. But, it's one of those just emotional roller coasters that really gets you, like, that really makes you feel like you're witnessing something that's, like, really, like, because it really does feel like Lillie. Like, everything, her voice actress, just everything that's going into it really makes it feel like Lillie is actually experiencing an emotional roller coaster, an emotional trauma that deals with her past and her family. And her determination to find her mom, even her interactions with Gladion are just nice, because it just feels like they feel really genuine, and you don't really get that a lot, right? Like, it's like one of those things, like, it's just nice. It's a nice feeling that you just, what I'm seeing, it just feels like a really real brother and sister who have had family, like, domestic problems their entire lives because their mom has, you know, done some weird shit. And it's just great, and I just really love the way they executed it more than anything. Like, the story is amazing, and, you know, it always will be amazing. Like, I think Nate Once to Battle said it best when he reviewed Sun and Moon, when he said, oh, the story feels like an anime. And it really does. Because, like, just everything, like, the story is always amazing. It will be amazing. Sun and Moon is easily one of the best stories of all in any Pokemon game. But just really feels like the anime just brings it to a whole new level that is just beyond incredible. And, like, genuinely one of some of the, like, really just well done stuff. Like, everything regarding, like, I've already mentioned, but everything regarding Nebby, and it's like its development, its transformation, like what it goes through and what it's had to deal with, how it's like completely oblivious to the fact that it's an Ultra Beast, all that stuff, and how it's been using, like, has all this power that can be utilized for to open the Ultra Wormhole, where the Parasite came in and captured Lusamine, just all this stuff. And one thing that I cannot applaud Sun and Moon enough for is that it balances this incredible story, but the whole time, its humor is top-notch. I was crying. I was crying laughing at least twice. Like, throughout watching like maybe 3 episodes. Like, the humor is just so amazing, and how they do it amidst all of this stuff is just, it's just amazing. Because like, for example, I have a few examples actually I can think off the top of my head. When they were at the Pokemon school doing the jump ropes, and you can see what's his face, the professor trying to capture Nebby from Ash's backpack. He's like, "Alright, time to go to Plan B," and he dresses up as a bush. And you can see Team Rocket like take a stand. Like, Team Rocket is in this series probably the funniest they've ever been. Like, they were really funny in like Hoenn and Sinnoh, because they were making like adult humor amidst all the childhood, you know, whatever, like the child focused stuff. And I really liked Sinnoh for that, because they were making like references to like, you know, paying like taxes and stuff like that, when no kids would understand that. So I appreciated them for that. But like this, they're just straight up funny, because Beware is such a meme, and it's just great. Like, so there was that with what's his face, but like there was also the part where like they were at the top on this Altar of the Sun, and they were trying to figure out what it was, and James was aiming the net, and he looked through the scope, and it was just Beware's eye in the scope, and I swear to God, I was dying. Oh, it was great. I was so funny, because Beware is just the biggest meme of the entire series, and it's genius, because they deliberately did that. Like, the writers deliberately made that, like, to be a meme, and it's just great. Because, oh, it's just lovely. It really is. I just love it. Like, Beware is like one of my favorite parts about the entire show. He's such a meme. He's great. So, like, how they do it is just they balance all these different things, and it's just amazing to me. Like, I don't know how they do it, but it's just great. So really, in the end, you know, it all comes down to the emotional investment in a character that matters. It all comes down to the development that, like, it all comes down to the time you put into a character that matters, right? Because this whole arc would have fallen completely flat had they not taken the time to make sure you know, and to make sure that you know Lillie is important, A, and B, that you're emotionally invested in her. Because otherwise you would have just seen her going through this stuff, and you would have just seen her as like a character going through this emotional trauma, but you wouldn't really you would have stuck with her this entire time. You know she can't touch Pokemon and all that, but like just the little things, right? Like I said, the diary stuff at the beginning of every episode, her changing her design, her newfound motivations, her emotional roller coasters, just all the little things, her interactions. You know, you can see, like, they drop little hints and stuff like that throughout the show, like, of that, you know, something's happening with Lillie, like, very soon, and just, like, all of the stuff they do in preparation for it really pays off, right? Because you are emotionally invested in Lillie as a character, and you're, like, you are able to sympathize with her when she goes through all these different things, and, like, it's just really good. It all comes down to just, you know, the character, developing a character so that the viewers are emotionally invested in her or him. And they've done that really well, and they do it really well consistently, regardless of who the writers are for this show. They made us emotionally attached to Serena. They didn't really do all that good in Pokemon Black and White with emotional attachment, but Lillie, Serena, mostly Lillie and Serena have been both really, really good. So, like, Dawn and May have both been, like, pretty decent. Like, Misty was okay. Iris is just bad. But Serena and Lillie have both been really, really good. And it's just nice. It's just nice to see all that time really pay off in the form of an epic storyline. Where, like, Ash still feels important, but he's taken a back seat to someone else. To a few someone else's. And it's just a really nice feeling to see fresh faces that matter in the show, and it's just nice. That's all I have to say. So I really loved it. Like, you know, I say this and all the time, but I'm retarded, so really don't listen to me. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's get on with this game. Thank you all for listening to that. Let's get on with the game.